You can tell a lot about this industry by what people try to hide and what they choose to hype. This week on the Cyber Pulse, we're looking at both. More than half of security pros say they've been told to stay quiet after a breach. Meanwhile, AI security is soaking up the headline, but not the funding, and identity has quietly become the weakest link in the cloud. So, whether you're building, defending, or selling in this industry, grab your coffee. This week's Pulse is a mix of realism, opportunity, and a little tough love. Every story I mention here will be linked in the description. All right, I'm just going to say it. The culture of silence in cybersecurity has gotten out of hand. According to the Hacker News, 58% of security pros say they've been told to hide a breach. That's a 38% jump since 2023. Now let that number sink in. We talk nonstop about transparency, about collaboration, about sharing threat intel, but inside way too many companies, people are still being told to zip it and protect the brand. And I get it. Nobody wants bad press. Nobody wants to be that company trending on X because they got popped. But here's the truth. Breaches will happen. There's no such thing as perfect cybersecurity. Even the most mature programs live with acceptable risk. That's literally part of the job. Attackers are proving that every single day. So the opportunity, and yes, there is one, isn't in preventing every single breach. It's in how you respond when it happens. Because that's what the customers remember. That's what the partners and practitioners watch. And that's what defines whether you're a company who owns it or one who hides behind PR statements and ongoing investigations. Some companies actually nail this. They're upfront, they communicate clearly, they work with threat researchers, ISACs, and law enforcement to help take down the bad actors behind it. They make their postmortems public, share IOCs, and help others patch faster. That's not weakness, that's leadership. That's maturity. When an organization handles a breach like that, it doesn't just protect its brand. It raises the bar for everyone else. It tells the whole industry we don't need to pretend that we're bulletproof to earn trust. We need to show what accountability looks like when things go wrong. If you're a leader, ask yourself, do your teams feel safe telling the truth? If you're a practitioner, remember, silence isn't your fault, but your perspective matters. Keep pushing for honesty wherever you can. Because what we hide today doesn't stay hidden. It just becomes someone else's tomorrow. Let's stop treating breach disclosure like a PR disaster and start treating it like what it is, a chance to prove we actually practice what we preach. Forrester just published new research called From Chaos to Clarity. We've got tools evolving faster than anyone can keep up with, and every team suddenly wants to do something with AI. But behind the buzzwords, the actual management of it all is still stuck in reactive mode. According to Forrester's Mavis Liu, most B2B marketing teams are still winging it, assigning AI projects ad hoc, spinning up little experiments here and there, hoping something sticks. It looks agile from the outside, but inside it's chaos, duplicated efforts, no clear ownership, and zero governance. You've got people writing briefs with one AI tool, analytics running on another, and nobody really knows who's responsible for outcomes, or ethics for that matter. And if that sounds familiar, it's because we've all seen this play out before. In cybersecurity, in DevOps, even in social media back in the day. When something new hits, everyone wants to move fast to experiment. But just figuring it out as we go only works until risk catches up, and it always does. Forrester points to 3 root causes: skill gaps, stretched resources, and resistance to change. None of that's shocking. Most teams barely have time for their day jobs, and now they're being told to become prompt engineers on top of everything else. Leadership too often sees AI as a shiny lever to pull, not a discipline that needs structure, training, and accountability. The report makes a good point. The problem isn't the tech, it's the organization. AI responsibilities need to be defined. Who owns the vision? Who governs the ethics? Who measures the value? Because when no one owns it, everyone assumes someone else does, and that's how mistakes get made. And here's why this matters beyond marketing. The same thing is happening in cybersecurity. We've got AI showing up in threat detection, stock automation, data enrichment, but governance is lagging behind. If marketing and security both stay in ad hoc mode, we're not leading the technology, we're reacting to it. So maybe the takeaway here isn't just organize your AI, it's about being intentional. Because the companies that define how AI is used responsibly, transparently, and strategically are the ones who'll actually get the business impact Forrester's talking about. Everyone else will still be chasing the next shiny model, wondering why the results don't add up. The Cloud Security Alliance just confirmed what a lot of practitioners already knew. Identity is officially the weakest link in cloud security. According to CSA's State of Cloud and AI Security 2025 report, identity-related failures now drive 3 of the top 4 causes of cloud breaches: excessive permissions, inconsistent access controls, and weak identity hygiene. And yeah, that means orphaned accounts, unrotated keys, and missing MFA are still wrecking us in 2025. While we've built entire zero trust frameworks, automated pipeline, AI-powered everything, yet the same old basics keep coming back to bite us. Identity was supposed to be the connective tissue across our hybrid and multi-cloud world. Instead, it's become the attack surface that holds it all together, until it doesn't. What CSA is saying here is simple. We can't keep treating identity like an afterthought. Cloud misconfigurations are still a big deal, but identity sprawl, the permissions, roles, and credentials no one's watching, that's the real open door. You can patch a CVE in a day, but you can't patch a culture that still grants temporary admin rights and forgets to revoke them. The report also calls out a dangerous mismatch between what leaders say and what they measure. 44% of organizations say least privilege is top priority, but the number one IAM metric they track is MFA adoption. That's like measuring fitness by counting how many people bought gym memberships. We're still tracking presence, not performance. CSA's recommendations are refreshingly practical. Instrument for effectiveness, not just existence. Monitor privilege escalation events, lifecycle hygiene, and access anomalies. Replace standing and min rights with just-in-time elevation. And, maybe most important, align your cloud and IAM teams on a shared roadmap. Because without shared dashboards and shared ownership, you're just playing identity whack-a-mole across clouds. This gets even more critical as AI workloads go mainstream. Machine identities, APIs, service accounts are multiplying faster than most IAM programs can track. So if your AI security starts with fancy model validation but ignores access governance, you're building on sand. At the end of the day, identity security is cloud security. If your zero trust plan stops at "we turned on SSO," you're not there yet. The organizations that win here will be the ones who make identity governance as visible, measurable, and funded as every other part of their stack. Because in 2025 and going into 2026, it's not your firewalls or AI models that define resilience. It's who you trust with the keys. California just took a big step for privacy, and honestly, it's about time. Governor Gavin Newsom has signed a bill that forces web browsers to give users a simple one-click way to opt out of having their data sold or shared. Now, under the original California Consumer Privacy Act, people already had the right to opt out, but the process was a nightmare. You had to do it site by site, form by form, rely on sketchy third-party extension. This new law changes that. It requires browsers to build an easy-to-find, built-in control so Californians can say no thanks once and have it stick. This might sound small, but it's a big deal, because once California moves, the rest of the country usually follows. And browser-level controls shift the balance of power from data brokers to consumers, something privacy advocates have been fighting for since the first cookie banner showed up. This isn't just a win for consumers, it's a challenge for vendors, marketers, and app developers to bake consent and transparency into the experience by default. Privacy shouldn't be a scavenger hunt. So, credit where it's due. This is one of those rare regulatory moves that actually makes things simpler and safer. Every time a major breach makes headlines, we talk about the technical details: who got in, what data was exposed, and how the attackers pulled it off. But Pierre Raymond's new analysis in Secure World reminds us that a breach doesn't just end in the SOC. Once that incident goes public, it becomes a financial event. Market cap, investor confidence, board credibility, they all get hit. Raymond lays out the math in plain terms. The day a breach is disclosed, the market reacts. Stock prices drop, investors reprice risk, and while some recovery happens, the data shows that many companies never fully catch up. Even a year later, breached firms tend to underperform the NASDAQ by nearly 9%. That's not just reputation damage, that's value erased. Think about what that means for security leaders. Your budget ask isn't about buying another tool, it's about protecting shareholder equity. Verizon shaved $350 million off its Yahoo acquisition over breach fallout. Equifax lost $5 billion in market value within days. Cyber risk has officially crossed over into financial risk. And yet, Some companies still treat disclosure as a compliant checkbox. They wait, they minimize, they lawyer every line, and market notice. The research shows delayed or vague disclosures trigger even steeper sell-offs. Investors don't just want remediation, they want credible governance. They want to see that the board understands risk, that leadership owns it, and that the response is real. This is where CISOs and CFOs need to speak the same language. Cybersecurity isn't just defending systems, it's defending valuation. The dollar you spend to prevent a breach isn't an expense. It's a hedge against market loss, litigation, and erosion of trust. Because once trust gets repriced, it's almost impossible to buy back. At the end of the day, that's the true cost of a breach. Not the remediation bill or the fine, but the quiet, lasting discount investors apply when they stop believing leadership has control. Let's talk about AI security, or as a cybersecurity economist, Mike Privette put it, the loud minority of the industry. In one of his latest posts, paired with data from Return on Security, Mike points out that while AI dominates the headlines, it's not dominating the money. Across the last 3 years, AI security represents only about 4% of total funding and 9% of deals in the broader cyber market. 4%. That's not a revolution. Mike makes a sharp observation here. What we're really seeing isn't an AI security movement, it's AI absorption. He breaks it down like this. Security for AI, protecting AI models, defending against prompt injection, LLM firewalls, that's just security. AI for security is using AI to improve threat detection, triage, and vulnerability management. That's just better tools. It's the same pattern we saw with cloud adoption a decade ago. At first, everything was cloud security. Now it's just security because the cloud has become the default. AI's headed down that same path. As Mike puts it, we're not witnessing a revolution so much as an evolution, a foundational technology quietly embedding itself into everything we already do. So while the hype cycle spins on, the takeaway from Mike's analysis is simple. AI isn't a separate category anymore. It's becoming the infrastructure of cybersecurity, absorbed, normalized, and steadily reshaping how we build and protect systems. Follow Mike on LinkedIn for data-driven analysis on the business of cybersecurity. I'd also like to throw a mention to Dr. Jason Edwards and his new book, Hacked, a selective cinematic history of cybersecurity. This isn't your typical tech read. It's part pop culture nostalgia, part professional insight. A journey through 15 films and shows that shaped how we think about hacking, surveillance, and digital identity. From Tron to Mr. Robot, Jason uses cinema as a mirror to explore what our favorite fictional hacks reveal about the real-world trade-offs we face every day. Ethics, access, responsibility, and control. These are the kinds of conversations that make this community stronger. Voices connecting cybersecurity to the wider world, helping people see not just the tech, but the culture behind it. Be sure to follow Dr. Jason Edwards on LinkedIn. That's it for this week's Cyber Pulse. If any of these stories hit home, share this episode, drop a comment, or tag someone who needs to hear it. Big thanks to the practitioners and creators whose work we featured today. You're the heartbeat of this community. I'm Laura Kenner with Bootstrap Cyber. Thanks for tuning in. For now, it's time to get back to business. Keep hacking your success.